evening to you, and it's my joy coming your way again tonight with another edition of your lovely program, Questions in the Heart. Happy new month to you all. I pray that the remaining parts of this year will be, months of God's greatness, months of God's goodness, months of God's mercy, months of God's kindness for you. I pray that everything you've been trusting God for in the first half of the year that you're yet to receive, His mercy will bring them your way. And if you're there, you secretly wet your pillow every night with tears, I bring you the word of peace from the Most High. Weep no more, cry no more, because the Lord will perfect all that concerns you. He will cause lines to fall, not even one, lines to fall for you in their pleasant places. Thanks for joining us tonight on your lovely program, Questions in the Heart. We're live on www.faithworldtv.com for your friends and family members who are not on Sky. Let them quickly log on to watch us live in any part of the world tonight. Log on to www.faithworldtv.com and to catch up on our past programs, to catch up on what is happening with us here on Questions in the Heart, just log on to www.questionsintheheart.tv, and there you get to know what is happening, here in the house. Tonight we are going to be looking at immigration matters, legal matters. A lot has happened lately with the, conservative coming into power. There is a lot happening, especially in the Department of Immigration. I've got two able hands in the house tonight to answer all your immigration questions, to answer all your fears on this immigration issue. The heart is the Lord's, and His fullness thereof. No matter how tough, no matter how tight, there will always be a way. God will always make a way for you. I'll go on a short break, and when I return tonight, I get you to meet my guests. They are both able hands. They are both legal practitioners. They're both learned and, loaded to answer your questions tonight. When we return, I get you to meet my guests. Don't touch. Ta-da!
We are here only because of you. If Questions in the Heart has been a blessing, we would ask of you to please sow towards our ministry so we can keep doing what we do. Please support us. Our website address is www.questionsintheheart.com. Please click on the PayPal link. Telephone 0788 120 7952. As you give towards this work, we can reach more and liberate more. God bless you.
Thanks for staying with us. Like I said, I've got two lawyers in the house with me tonight. Someone will say, Esther, what's your stress? About 2-3 weeks ago, you had a lawyer on the show. Tonight, you've got two lawyers. Is it because you're becoming a lawyer? Not that. It's because there is so much. Trust me, you will agree with me that there is so much going on, especially with the conservative in power. There is so much going on, and we think God's people should be informed. You should know your right, what to do and what not to do. She's been on this show before, and if you've, for any reason, if you've got a good reason, I know people visit our website like from all over the world every day. We've got serious traffic going on www.questionsintheheart.com. Our advert is there. It's been there for over 2-3 years now. If I need to send her another invoice because we've been, advertising for her for years. She is a woman of grace, The last time she was on this show about 2-3 years ago, all the referrals she got from Questions in the Heart, they called me back to say, Esther, thank you for referring us to Mariam. She did a good job. She represented some people. They won their cases. It was beautiful having her, and I'm glad she's back in the house with us tonight after so many years. It's my honor to bring your way again tonight Mrs. Mariam Owoyinfa. She is the CEO of Victory Legal Services in the Art of Luton. Good evening, Ma.
Good evening.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
It's good to have you back
Yeah,
after so many years.
thank you.
You're welcome back.
Thank
I'm
you.
coming back to you. And guess what? She's not alone tonight. I've got Mr. Shahid Nadeem. Am I right?
Yes.
I've got Mr. Shahid Nadeem, who is a director of 121 Associates. Good evening, Mr. Shahid Nadeem.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Thank you very much.
I'll be back immediately. I want, well, they say ladies first after men. But tonight is proper ladies first.
Yeah,
For those of our fans who were not privileged to see your episode with us about 3 years ago, who is Mariam Owoyinfa and what do you do for a living?
Yeah, my name is Mariam Owoyinfa, and I'm a legal advisor. I actually work at Victory Legal Services, and I'm also an advocate at 121 Law Associates.
Yeah.
And the areas we cover are immigration law and nationality. We do other areas as well, like debt and consumer law. We do social security law and housing law as well. So, but most of our casework is actually on immigration,
yeah.
work. So, and the office is actually based in Luton, in Bedfordshire. So that's what I do for a living, which I actually enjoy.
I can tell you do. I can tell you do because you've got proofs that God is helping you in that department. It's an honor having you again on Questions in the Art tonight. Mr. Shahid Nadeem, who is Shahid Nadeem? What do you do at 121 Law Associates?
Yes, I'm working in 121 Law Associate, which is immigration. We are providing immigration advice and services, including nationality, indefinite leave to remain, students, spouse, family members, European family members. We also deal with the appeals, deportation, bail, all sort of the category which is relevant to the immigration, all kind of the immigration rules and regulations.
Okay, there is a serious collaboration between Victory Legal Services and 121 Law Associates. You want to tell us about that briefly?
Yeah. Victory Legal Services is actually a limited company on its own, with areas of practice. But at the same time, I was actually registered as an advocate under 121 Law Associates.
Okay.
So we work hand in hand.
Okay.
The Victory Legal Services is based in Luton, Bedfordshire, for people that are in Bedfordshire area. And people that cannot come there, they can easily come to
London.
To 121 Law Associates.
Where is 121 Law Associate based?
Yeah, 121 Law Associate is based in the Barking, East London.
In Barking, East London.
Yes.
Okay, that's quite high.
And we get assistance on a couple of occasions from the Mariam for her expertise and advocacy.
Okay.
And my other colleague, Dr. Kiara Mankasu, she's also advocate and she's also working with us. So we are a 3-team member in Barking.
In Barking, okay. So if you're in Luton, Bedfordshire area, Mrs. Mariam Owoyinfa is based in the heart of Luton. Well, the last time she was here, people traveled from London to meet her in Luton. She can testify to that tonight.
Scotland.
You know, even from Scotland, some of our fans from Scotland traveled down to Luton, you know, for our services, and thank God for the great result that we had. So if you're in the heart of Luton, you're in Bedfordshire area, please do not hesitate to give Mrs. Mariam Owoyinfa a call, you know, to get in touch with her. She is able, the Lord is using her, apart from her being a professional, she's a Christian, a God-fearing woman, and the Lord is honoring that to ensure that whatever she lays her hands on in this law firm prospers. I'm looking forward to, you know, at least getting my first year or 2 year of work experience, you know, from her soon by the grace of God. So in the heart of Bedfordshire, wherever you are anyway, you did the last time when she was there, traveled from all over, she is there. And thank God she works hand in hand with Mr. Shahid Nadeem as well. Wherever you are in the heart of London, anywhere you are, Barking is accessible to everybody. You know, give Mr. Shahid Nadeem a call. If they need Mrs. Owoyinfa to come on board, she would, you know, to make sure that your case and your issue is sorted by the hands of God. Trust me, these people are committed to see that you have peace of mind and that to see that your cases are settled. They will do all they can to assist you. Let's get down to business tonight.
Yeah.
The Conservative government came in power. It's not even 4 weeks, and there is a lot of good things happening. Yeah, as we can see at the moment. But there are some serious issues going on. Serious issues going on, especially in the Department of Immigration. Mrs. Mariam, you want to tell us what the Conservative government, what's their new immigration bill has unveiled in even the Queen, the Queen's speech gave us a clear picture of what is going to be, happening in the future. The future is now, because they're beginning to take effect from now anyway. You want to shed a bit of light into that for us tonight?
Yeah. There have been a couple of changes since 2014 Immigration Act 2014. There have been changes, but with the new government that we have, you can see from the Queen's speech on the 27th of May 2015 that, the next 5 years, we really have to, is really going to be a lot that will be happening in immigration law. One that is really very pressing at the moment is the deport first, appeal later.
Deport first.
Yes.
And appeal later.
Yes.
Go on, ma.
So with that, what is going to be is, so far you have removal directions, and you don't have a leave in the UK. The Secretary of State has actually been given the power, the extra power to deport, even if you still have an appeal pending or maybe a JR, judicial review. If you still have it yet to come, the Secretary of State, they have the authority and the power now
to remove,
to remove and deport someone back to his or her home country.
Let me get this right. If you've got an appeal pending, say you've not been given your appeal date, but your lawyer is acting on your behalf at the moment, is this new rule going to affect such a one?
It will in a way, although, because as we'll be talking tonight about what has actually happened in terms of appeal rights, definitely appeal rights have now been narrowed down, and if you have an appeal that is yet, maybe you are yet to have a date. If you are yet to have a date, yes, you can wait till you have a date. But what we are saying is, if there is an appeal, they may not allow you to even wait for the appeal
before they remove.
Because they have the authority to do so. But it's actually more pronounced with when there is a JR, judicial review, on the way. So the fact that you have a judicial review hearing coming up in the future does not really stop removal the way it is. You
gave me a very practical example backstage when we were having a chat before the show tonight. You want to tell us what happened?
Yeah, because I actually, there was a case that actually happened not too long ago, which the appellant has actually tried to go through the appeal process. But having failed, he decided to go on JR, and the JR is yet to be heard, but still was deported. So, and that is where the issue of, okay, you deport first, and then
appeal.
You appeal later.
Appeal later.
Out of the country.
I was going to ask you.
Yes.
Does appeal later means you be deported first, then we'll call you back in to appeal here? Or you appeal from your own country?
From your country, maybe with a legal rep, in a lawyer representing you in UK.
The UK.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mr. Shahid, do you have anything to chip in on this issue of deport first, appeal later?
Yes, it's for those people, if they got this type of the decisions where deport first and appeal later, they should make sure that before deportation they consult someone, a legal advisor, who can advise them that how can they appeal while they are in their back home country and what type of the procedure they need to take. So it's because once they are in the back home country, it might be very difficult for them to get the advice. So it's better before going they can make an arrangement and they can consult and they can get the proper advice so they can appeal accordingly.
Wow. What do you say to that, man? Before, if you know, if anybody is there watching us tonight, and they've got judicial review pending or any appeal pending, what would be your advice? Like he just said. Now, what are the practical steps they should take? Because they can be removed any time.
Yeah, it's actually better to make sure they actually are under a proper legal rep that will represent them in UK. They must give the legal rep an authority to act on their behalf. So if they have a legal rep, a lawyer that is representing them, can still make they can continue. Despite the fact that they've been deported. So they can continue and
the legal rep can continue
in their absence from UK. So
they have to, don't delay, act now. If you've got any judicial review pending, if you've got any appeal pending, please act now. Contact these people, let them help you. Give them the right to act on your behalf because you can be removed anytime. And if proper, like Mr. Shahid said, if proper arrangement is not made before you were deported, it to be a bit difficult. Okay, that's on deport first, appeal later. That is the latest, on immigration issues. What's the current situation with students' rights, student legal rights, especially international students? There have been a lot of changes regarding our students because they're actually under the PBS, the point-based system, since 2012, when the post-study thing actually stopped for people who finished studies there. To stay back, no. The position of the law is you come for your studies and go back to your home country. But a recent change that we actually noticed, we've actually heard of cases, especially students from private colleges and private universities who are actually being arrested, maybe by the use of the kind of English certificates they used when they were coming in. So maybe the agents that actually helped them from their home country. Actually, there are issues with that, and for this reason, very many people, very many students, they are being arrested and even detained. Yes, they are being detained, and my own advice is that such students, they should know their international rights. They should be well registered with maybe the student union in their college, and also wherever they are being deported, wherever they are being detained, they should try and seek independent legal advice on time, so that they can actually be able to help them. And importantly as well, there is a JCWI, who they actually call it joint. They actually work hand in hand with immigrants, especially
to
students.
help for students. So. And a couple of firms as well, they actually there to help people that actually fall in this clamp down situation.
Okay, so JCWI specializes in helping students.
Yeah, not only students.
Not only students.
They help immigrants generally.
Okay. They help immigrants generally.
Yes.
We would have JCI's contact details on the screen before the end of the show tonight for anyone who want to contact them as well. Mr. Shahid, is there anything you want to chip in again on the issue of students' legal rights at the moment?
Yes.
Under the conservative government?
Yes, regarding the students' English language requirement, as Mariam was mentioning, currently there are lots of changing for the English language requirement, and there are many English language requirement providing awarding bodies. They are not in position in work to award any certificate to the people, because the Home Office issued the new guidance, and especially after this first week of the April, there are the very certain and limited bodies who can be used for
Test of
English language to fulfill the English language requirement. And previously, if there are some body which are still, if you took a test before 6th of April 2015, so there are still some awarding body which could be considered until the November 2015.
Wow.
After those English language certificate will not be accepted.
Wow.
So when you are choosing any English language awarding body, make sure this is the awarding
right
body
one.
which is the right one and which is long lasting, and you can use this certificate later on the other stages as well.
Okay.
And as I mentioned,
will they be given another opportunity to resit the exam in case the body you used for the test wasn't the right body? Would there be any chance to resit, or for your English test?
Yes, that's
with the
why,
proper body this
yes,
time?
that's why the Home Office given a time of the extension for those body who are registered with the Home Office for these purposes. So Home Office will accept their certificates until November 2015. As Marian was mentioning earlier regarding the arrest and the detention, so there were some certain bodies where some people or some agents they choose different bodies to cheat the system. So that's why the Home Office clamping them down and taking them. And even if they were making any new application, their application could be refused on this ground that they used deception in their previous application. It could be 2 years before, it could be 4 years before, it could be 5 years before. So that's why it's very important to get independent legal advice, to contact any good immigration lawyer in this regard to get an advice before making any application.
As it is now, seriously speaking, as it is, Mrs. Mariam, it looks like for anyone who's got any immigration issue, you just have to, have a lawyer representing you. What do you say to that?
Well, it's not that you cannot represent yourself, but it's actually advisable to actually seek a proper legal advice and use an expertise, because anything can go wrong if you are just doing it yourself. So it's actually advisable to use
have someone acting on your behalf.
Yes.
There's this issue of appeal rights narrowed down from 21 categories of appeal right to 4. Only 4. You want to tell us about that?
Since the Immigration Act 2014 actually narrowed down the rights of appeal, formerly PBS, people under Tier 1 to 4 or 5 used to have appeal rights when the application is refused. Now that one has been cut off. It's now been actually narrowed down to just 4. And the major ones now is if there is an appeal for human rights cases, also for asylum cases. So, but generally speaking, the appeal rights have actually been cut down. And what to replace that, some of them, is administrative review. So, administrative review is another one when somebody is not given an appeal rights.
Okay.
That means maybe there is an issue, there is an error through the caseworker, which actually needs to be rectified. So they can use administrative review to sort out that type of situation, but no right of appeal.
No right of appeal. Mr. Shahid, she mentioned appeal rights have been narrowed down to 4. She mentioned asylum and human rights reasons. What are the remaining 2 appeal rights cases?
Yes, as you mentioned, if a person is claiming an asylum and their asylum claim is refused, they can get a right of appeal. And if a person was granted asylum but their asylum is going to be revoked, they can also get a right of appeal.
Okay.
So right now, out of 4, the 2 are relevant to the asylum and they are granted.
Okay.
And the third one, as you mentioned, is on the human rights claim. If you have any human rights claim and it is refused, but it's a proper human rights claim if they are fulfilling the requirement of the human rights claim.
So it's basically just human rights and asylum.
And asylum.
Yes.
That's actually how it is at the moment.
And the fourth one, yes. And at the fourth one is that if you are a family member of an EA national and your application is going to be refused, then you will be able to get a right of appeal.
Which is under human rights.
Under EU. Under the EU law.
Under the EU law. It is well.
And in general, in some certain, even if you have a human rights claim or the European application as a family member, sometimes you might not be able to get a right of appeal. Why? Because you are not fulfilling the requirements which are mandatory for the application. So if there are not some certain documents or their format is not correct according to the Home Office requirement or the UK visa and immigration's requirement, you might not be able to get a right of appeal.
Interesting. Before we go on a short break tonight and then allow people, our fans across the world, to give you a shout and ask their questions tonight, apart from those people living here in the UK who are affected or have got issues with immigration, there are visitors. Visitors are even affected with you know, these new laws and policies. Those who want to come into the UK, you know, just for visit. What are their rights at the moment?
At the moment, yeah. A lot has actually happened in that area as well, because like we used to have before, we have up to 15 different routes to come in as a visitor, either come in as a tourist, maybe a private medical treatment. It can be general, and it can be any type of a visitor before, but now it's been narrowed down to 4, just 4 categories as it stands for visitors. But the only thing that is good about it is for visitors now, they've actually made it more flexible. If you come in as a visitor, instead of just maybe as a tourist, you just need to just do the tourist stops, activities. But now they've made it flexible. If you are coming as a visitor, you have the right to actually work for maybe like 30 days, maybe for the charity organization.
Okay.
So that is actually one of those changes as well under the visitors route.
Can you only just work for charity or other companies, Mr. Shahid?
There are a visitor visa for the paid engagement, that you might have some time of the paid engagement, but again it's you need to be applied for the correct category, like if you're coming as an entertainer, if you're coming as a dancer, to make sure when you are making an application you are mentioning on what ground are you going to use for your application.
Okay. What are these four categories of visitors application? You said it's been narrowed down to 4.
Yeah, it's been narrowed down now. It's either you come in under the general visitor, and then you just do your thing and just go back and go back. There are other areas, maybe like sports.
Okay,
people,
coming in through sport.
As a sports person, there is also people in the arts, artistic work as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and they still maintain the medical grounds as well as a visitor. So those are areas.
Family ties visitation is no more allowed. Maybe I'm here and I want my cousin or my mom or my dad to come in and visit. Are you saying that's been scrapped?
Well, it's not totally scrapped. The only thing is most of these things, there are rules that needs to be satisfied before a visitor can come on family ground. And my own advice is that even if your visa is actually refused, instead of going through the rigor of appeal, it's better to actually note the reasons for the visa, and just put in a fresh application anew, instead of going through the appeal as a visitor, especially family visitors. Just note the reasons why, the reasons for refusal, and then just address those situations, and then, because that is quicker than going through the appeal process. Yes.
Okay. Is that applicable to those who are here already and have got immigration issues?
Pardon?
Is that applicable to those who are resident here at the moment, or they've got immigration issues?
Like you mean family members?
No. For, let's say someone is been in the UK for years.
Yeah.
Put in an application, was refused. Should they put in another application?
Well, it depends, because I mean, it depends on the ground where such a person is coming from. Because definitely, if you are here, if somebody is there illegally or whatever, the 14-year rule used to apply before. But now, it's the 20 years that is actually that has actually replaced the 14 years. So
if you are here illegally, you have to wait for 20 solid years before you get any form of settlement.
With proof.
With proof.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go on a short break, and when we return tonight, our studio line will open. Get your questions ready. These people will be able to help you tonight, and that's the number to text us your questions on. If you can't get through to the studio line tonight and you have your questions. Please, that's the number to text your questions to, and I hope we'll be able to take a few questions via text messages. Don't touch the dial. We'll be right back.
We are here only because of you. If questions in the heart have been a blessing, we would ask of you to please sow towards our ministry so we can keep doing what we do. Please support us. Our website address is www.questionsintheart.com. Please click on the PayPal link. Telephone 0788 120 7952. As you give towards this work, we can reach more and liberate more. God bless you.
Thanks for staying with us tonight. Mr. Shahid, citizenship, British citizenship, how easy is it now? That's the only thing I can, the only way to put it, to allow you, tell us how easy, please tell us how easy is British citizenship now?
Yeah, the people who fulfill some certain criteria and the requirement, they can apply for their British nationality, and they can be naturalized, or if they are children, they could be registered as a British children. And for this, one of the main things which they need to fulfill is the indefinite leave to remain. If somebody has a settled status, permanent residence, or the indefinite leave to remain, this is one of the condition. Second condition is this, that they must pass a life in the UK test, and they also fulfill the English language requirement. There are some certain other good character requirement which Marian will let you know. There are the new changes after, according to this new laws and regulation. There are the new good character requirement which Marian will explain to you later.
Okay. Mrs. Owoyinfa.
Yeah.
I want to become a British citizen.
Yes.
What should I do? What are my rights?
Yeah, my colleague has actually explained what it actually entails to actually become a British citizen. But one change that is really eminent at the moment now is the issue of good character. The issue of good character comes into play now. If, for instance, maybe you came in illegally, and along the line somehow you're able to get a stay.
Yeah?
At least the last 10 years, the Home Office will look at it. If you actually came in illegally, that is really going to be against you being granted.
That's not a good character.
No.
But along the line, I was able to, naturalize and...
that's what we are talking about. That, if, for instance, you use deception, if, for instance, there is a criminal thing that you are involved in or something, all those things will come into play, because good character is actually a big factor in being granted British citizenship these days. Yeah.
Good character.
Yes.
You must not have any criminal case.
Yes, or maybe you must not, for instance, maybe engage in sham marriages, to get your leave to remain.
How would they know a marriage is sham?
Well, it may come up at a point. It may be discovered, really. So, and that would really war against being granted.
How do you think they will discover that? If two people say they are in love, and they want to marry, why not?
Well, some people can be very unlucky. That's because at times maybe the other party can actually report to the Home Office, and by that the good character issue will come up. If, for instance, maybe driving license, for instance, now maybe you use deception to actually acquire it, those ones as well will count against you being granted a British citizenship. And anything that is of bad character would actually, they will look into it. How is your character?
Okay.
Either maybe what you said to, or maybe even overstaying. Overstaying is another one.
Overstaying is the major
You're
one.
overstaying. If you have overstayed at a particular time, 10 years to, you've been seeking, which it may come up. And that is if you have overstayed. And also, people maybe that are being told to maybe report to the police station, or they are supposed to sign, and they didn't really, come up, or maybe they didn't go or something, or maybe they breach, such things. So those are part of good characters that would actually weigh against you being granted British citizenship or not.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And for those who've got long residency, what's the policy on ground for their settlement at the moment?
Long residency, yeah, that's what we are saying, that
Say
as
someone's
it
been here
stands,
for a certain number of years and don't want to naturalize. How would they go about it?
well, there is a difference between naturalizing and having a stay. So the law as it stands now is okay, even if you cannot prove the way you came in or whatever, but the point is you must have been in UK for 20 years. If you are not, for any reason, and you think, oh, for this reason I cannot go back to my home country, you can bring your reason and apply based on whatever reason that, oh, you have insurmountable obstacles, or you are not even connected to, you don't have any ties in your home country anymore. We have this one covered under section 276 ADE, subsection 6, which actually covers private life.
Okay.
You've been here less than 20 years, but you have reasons why you cannot go back. So that covers that bit. Yeah.
Okay, that covers that bit. So is that the only way people can, is that the only route people can go through to get, to become British citizens?
There are other ways. You can, it can be through marriage, it can be through being in the work permit route as well.
Work permit route.
Yes, that's another way. And then also, the 7-year concession is still ongoing as it stands.
Okay.
If you have a child here, 7 years, who have been in UK for 7 years without being out of UK more than 6 months at a go. So that is another one. Or maybe the child is actually born in UK.
Yes, someone just sent a
and is
text
actually
saying
told,
she had a baby girl here in the UK. The baby is 7. She applied when the baby was 4, was denied. Applied again when the baby is 7. When the baby became 7, denied again. What should I do?
Okay, if that is the position, the time the baby was actually 4 years old, I think that was the time that the 7-year concession was actually withdrawn. They call it DPD 96. It only just came back in 2012, July, the 7-year concession. So in that wise, because I have clients who were actually refused under, maybe the children are still under 7 years in UK, they were refused. But when they came in, we reapply again under the 7-year concession. And then they were granted. We have so many clients like that who were actually granted 7-year concession when it came in from 2012 till date.
Okay.
So in answering that question, it's better to seek legal advice, because so far the baby girl is actually turned 7+. She has the right to actually apply under the 7-year concession. It's not meant to be refused unless the homework was not properly done.
Okay, if both parents are illegal immigrants, but they got kid here who is over 7, would they be granted their stay, Mr. Shahid?
As I will refer to the text which you received. Sometime the Home Office refused the application on this basis. Even a child is 7-year-old or 8-year-old, that the child could easily move back to the back home country with the parents, and it will not be a any issue with the child, and child could be possibly integrate into that society. So sometimes the Home Office also refuse on this basis. That's why Mariam was mentioning that you should make an application properly, doing your homework and put all the grounds or the evidence which you are thinking relevant to your case. Don't just put an application, okay, the child is 7-year-old, here is the application, here is the fees, and give us a visa. Because if you're not putting all the information or the grounds which are relevant to you, so it will be difficult for to get any kind of the leave.
Okay, someone sent another text saying, I've been here for 15 years. I have not made any application and I have no status at the moment. What do you advise?
Well, my own advice is instead of exposing yourself to the system, unless you have a very strong reason why you actually want to apply at this stage, maybe on marriage ground, maybe you have a British citizen who is actually permanently settled. But I mean, in terms of long residency, though it's 15 years, but it's not up to the required 20 years. So if you apply for a stay, been here for 15 years, if the grant is not solid, that application will be refused. So it's better to actually wait maybe until you turn 20 years and you have proof to actually prove it, or you can use other routes to do that. Yeah.
You've got something to say on that, Mr. Shahid?
Yeah, if somebody do not qualify, I will not advise them to wait for the, if they are not qualified, if they are not entitled to live in the UK, they should go back. But if they are thinking that it will be difficult for them to go back and integrate into their back home country, or there are some other certain issue as Mariam was mentioning, then they can make an application. I will not encourage someone to stay over there for longer and make an application after 20 years, because it's not a right for them to do. But if they are thinking there are some grounds on which they could qualify, so they should make an application, but proper homework and with the relevant evidence. If they are thinking that they are family ties, or if they are thinking they have a private life with other family members, so they should demonstrate it, not only just writing, okay, I have this uncle or auntie or sister or cousin. They should demonstrate with the evidence. So the Home Office could consider all those evidence and make the decision accordingly.
I would carry on with our questions, but I want us to attend to the questions coming in tonight. Someone said, thanks for coming up with such a program. What is your advice on this issue? Due to my health issues, social services advised me and even wrote the invitation letter for my sister to come and help me with my daily activities and look after my children. But she was refused the visa based on her financial position. So what would you advise?
Because when it comes to medical situations, it's actually it is actually very not too easy to actually come under medical situation unless maybe it's a life-threatening medical situation. So they may want to, although according to that question, is actually being refused on financial ground.
Financial ground, yeah.
So my own advice is actually, if it's just on financial, that should be rectified. And then when it's rectified, then you can put in another one. So far, the social services actually, if you have a proof that, I mean, that situation requires somebody to help you. But the point is, they may want to come back to you that, I mean, in all the UK, is that there are no carers who can actually care for you over here in UK. So you must be able to say the reason,
why you want to bring someone here.
Why is that particular sister that has to take care of you here? Because there are carers in UK that should be able to do that bit. Yeah.
So you don't have to bring someone here to look after you.
Yes.
Someone said, I've got a judicial review pending. Should I go before I'm deported?
Well, that depends, because if that person is actually detained, if he's detained, because, I mean, don't forget that the penalty, if it's the UK people that actually, if you actually deported, the penalty is that, I mean, the next 10 years, wherever you are, don't even go near the embassy to come back to UK. But if you go voluntarily, you can just, come back on whatever ground again without going through that 10-year ban.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you advise such a one to go?
Yeah, if, there is a judicial review, unless it's strong and it's a winnable case. If it's something that you think...
Mr. Shahid, what will you say to that?
Yeah, if somebody, they don't have any solid ground, they shouldn't stay, as Marian mentioned. If they will go voluntarily, there are the different restrictions. If they will go assisted return or with a financial help, then there will be a ban of the 10-year or 5-year according to their circumstances.
Okay. Someone said, can I not use a lawyer from my home country if deported? Why UK lawyers?
It depends. If somebody want to make appeal at their own, or if they want to do at their own, they can do. Or if they want to choose a lawyer out of the country, they can do. But again, the people who are practicing day by day on the daily basis with the cases, they have a different level of the experience as compared to the. If I am sitting in any other part of the world, I might not be able to familiar with the UK law as compared to the someone who is already in the UK and practicing the day by day on the various cases.
Okay.
But it's up to them where they want to choose.
Okay, well, they can actually use lawyers from back home, from wherever they are, not only UK lawyers.
Yeah, they should make sure that the person they are choosing for legal advice is competent and they are aware of the day-by-day changes. As you're aware, lots of changes are going to be happening sometime frequently. Sometime happened that we prepare an application form, but we are about to send next week or 2 weeks after, but the application form is changed or the information change or the requirement change. So they should choose a person who is competent. It could be the foreign lawyer, it could be the UK lawyer, or they can do by themselves if they are aware of these changes.
If they are able to handle it. Mrs. Owoyinfa, you mentioned something about graduate entrepreneur when we were having a pre-show chat. You want to tell us about that tonight?
Yeah, I actually was trying to explain that under the PBS, the tier 1, apart from the investors and all those ones, there is this graduate entrepreneur for people who actually graduated from UK, who has UK certificates, who are actually allowed, to set up their own business over here in UK. The changes there is that as it stands now, from April 2015, is actually been that category, tier 1 entrepreneur, is actually been restricted. They've actually restricted, and it's actually a bit difficult to actually get through that category.
At the moment. You've got something to say about that?
Yes, the graduate entrepreneur, if somebody got the UK degree and they have a good business idea, they may be able to apply for as a graduate entrepreneur, but again they need an endorsement from the UKTI or their university, whose higher educational institute, that this person have a good business idea and they can maintain it. There are some limit, there are some restriction, a certain number before they can't do it. And again they need to satisfy the English language requirement. If they have a degree, it is already satisfied, and they also need the maintenance requirements. They should have some certain amount of the money so they can maintain themselves without recourse to any public fund.
Okay, thank you so much. Someone said, how do I get in touch with Mrs. Owoyinfa? Yeah, Mrs. Owoyinfa's details will be on the screen. All you need to do is give Mrs. Owoyinfa a call, send her an email, and or send her or visit our website. There'll be a place where they can leave information. Victory Legal Services details will be on the screen. That's Mrs. Owoyinfa. You will be able to get in touch with her for that person that asked the question on how to get in touch with Victory Legal Services. Removal direction. Removal direction. What have you got to say about that?
Regarding removal directions, especially on IS 96 form, that is when you receive a removal direction, is actually a serious thing now, because now that formally when you receive it, you can still do things, and maneuver things generally, but as at from April 2015, if you have a removal direction, it means that the Secretary of State has actually been given the power to remove you as soon as is possible, as soon as possible. So if you have a removal direction, it's better to actually find a way of sorting yourself out very quickly, because I mean, no matter whatever you want to put in form of maybe application or whatever, will be very slim at that point.
Wow.
To actually get through. Yeah. So it's
So if
actually
you've got a removal direction, act quickly. Good evening, Rose. Hello. Good evening. Thanks for calling.
My question is, thank you very much for this program. My question is, I have a child who is British. I have a child who is who's going to get the same as me, but my partner doesn't have. Will he qualify to get any form of status?
We can't hear you on set, Rose.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, he's better.
Yes, I said I have a child who's British,
Yeah?
and I have 2.5 years,
Yeah?
and I have a child who I've already put in for her to get the 2.5 years with me, but my partner doesn't have. Will he qualify for any form of paper or
Did you get a point?
if to remain, whatever it is? Will he qualify for anything? What can we do?
She's got some British citizen kids, I presume. And there's another one who is not. Yeah. What's the chances of...
What is the nationality of the Rose? Is she
Rose,
with you?
where are you from, please?
What is her nationality?
And her status.
Hello, Rose, are you still there? I think she is gone. She might have to. Can we please have the contact details for Mrs. Owoyinfa, Victory Legal Services, on the screen, please? Rose, I would advise you, please, get in touch. That's the Mrs. Owoyinfa's number for the person that asked for her number the other time. And Rose can as well give her a call. She would be able to explain to you. They need to know your nationality and some other details from you to be able to advise you. That's Mrs. Owoyinfa's contact number on the screen. Our email and website will be there as well. Hello, Rose?
Hello?
Okay. What's your nationality? That was what you asked, isn't it?
Hello?
Hello, where are you from, Rose?
I'm from Kenya.
Excuse me?
Kenya.
Kenya. Rose is from Kenya. Our time is gone tonight, Rose. I would advise, please call Mrs. Owoyinfa after the show. That's our contact number on the screen. Our email and website will be on the screen too. Please give her a shout and she will be able to help you too. We've got a few minutes to go tonight. What would be your general... We were talking about removal policies. And I was going to ask, are you saying if someone has got a removal direction, you said they need to act fast because the Home Office
Giving them
the authority to deport? Would they arrest anywhere? Or
that's if the person is actually detained. If the person is detained, they can remove from detention and then.
so what if the person is not detained?
Well, if it's not detained, it may still be like come and be signing in while he has an ongoing application.
So are you saying there are illegal immigrants who are not signing? Will they be affected?
People that are not signing in, they can still.
If someone is illegal and not signing, how is this going to affect them?
Well, it's not really applicable to somebody that is not signing. It's actually applicable to people that are detained.
Okay, if someone is an illegal immigrant but not signing, they are still free to move around.
Maneuver their status. Yeah.
Well, we've got to go tonight. Of course, I just coming in, but thank God we're able to answer some of these text messages that came in. Please get in touch with Victory Legal Services, Mrs. Owoyinfa in the Art of Luton, and Mr. Shahid Nadeem is here in Barking. They both would help with your immigration issues. And if you need direction or need their contact details as well, that number on the screen, you can send me a text. I will send their contact details over to you, and you can still send me your text messages as questions. I will forward it to them, and they would definitely, I can assure you, definitely get in touch with you. Thank you so very much for coming on Questions in the Art, Mr. Shahid, and thank you so much, Mrs. Mariam Owoyinfa. We hope to have you on Questions in the Art again. Till I see you, same time, same station next week. God bless you. Good night.